The Woozle effect, also known as evidence by citation, or a woozle, occurs when frequent citation of previous publications that lack evidence misleads individuals, groups and the public into thinking or believing there is evidence, and non-facts become urban myths and factoids. Origin of the term, definition of the effect, and related notions. A woozle is an imaginary character in the A. Milne book Winnie the Pooh, published in 1926. In Chapter 3, in which Pooh and Piglet go hunting and nearly catch a woozle, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet start following tracks left in snow, believing they are the tracks of a woozle. The tracks keep multiplying until Christopher Robin explains to them that they have been following their own tracks in circles around a tree. Prior to the introduction of the specific term Woozle effect, the underlying research phenomenon dates back over 60 years. Bevan, writing about scientific methodology and research errors in the field of psychology, uses the term scientific woozle hunters. Woozle refers to a hunt for the woozle in social science research, and Stevens cautions readers about woozles in the study of a misquoted letter. According to Richard J. Gels, the term Woozle effect was coined by Beverly Houghton in 1979. Other researchers have attributed the term to Gels and Murray A. Strauss. Gels and Strauss argue that the Woozle effect describes a pattern of bias seen within social sciences and which is identified as leading to multiple errors in individual and public perception, academia, policy making and government. A woozle is also a claim made about research which is not supported by original findings. According to Dutton, a woozle effect, or a woozle, occurs when frequent citation of previous publications that lack evidence mislead individuals, groups and the public into thinking or believing there is evidence, and non-facts become urban myths and factoids. The creation of woozles is often linked to the changing of language from qualified to absolute form, firming up language and introducing ideas and views not held by an original author or supported by evidence. Winningham and Barton Burke argue that slavish worship of political correctness contributes to the Woozle effect. Dutton sees the Woozle effect as an example of confirmation bias and links it to belief perseverance and groupthink. Because in the social sciences empirical evidence may be based on experiential reports rather than objective measurements, there may be a tendency for researchers to align evidence with expectation. According to Dutton, it is also possible that the social sciences may be likely to align with contemporary views and ideals of social justice, leading to bias in favor of those ideals. Gambrill links the Woozle effect to the processes that create pseudoscience. Gambrill and Raymond also link it with more deliberate propaganda techniques. They also identify introductory phrases like "everyone knows," "it is clear that," "it is obvious that," "it is generally agreed that," as alarm bells that what follows might be a woozle line of reasoning. Examples: in 1979, Houghton illustrated the Woozle effect, showing how work by girls based on a small sample and published in The Violent Home by Strauss, who had written the foreword for Gells's book, was presented as if it applied to a large sample. Both of these were then cited by Langley and Amp. Levy in the 1977 book, Wife Beating, The Silent Crisis. In the 1998 book Intimate Violence, Gels and Strauss used the Winnie the Pooh woozle to illustrate how poor practice in research and self-referential research causes older research to be taken as fresh evidence, causing error and bias. In a study conducted by the Vera Institute of Justice, Weiner and Haller reported some of the research-related difficulties associated with measuring human trafficking. They describe and map the unfolding of the Woozle effect in connection with prevalence estimates of human trafficking. Searching the relevant literature between 1990 and 2006, Weiner and Haller found 114 prevalence estimates in 45 publications. Only one of the publications cited original research, and several prevalence estimates appeared unsourced. The authors concluded that the sources they reviewed lacked citations, adequate operational definition, and discussion of methodology. Stransky and Finkelhor criticized the general methodology involved in human trafficking research. They cite the Woozle effect and post a prominent warning on the first page of the report cautioning against citing any specific estimates they present, as the close inspection of the figures reveals that none are based on a strong scientific foundation. Gambrell and Raymond analyze scientific papers and mass-market communications about social anxiety and conclude that many of them engage in disease-mongering by presenting the disease model of social anxiety as an incontrovertible fact by resorting to unchallenged repetition techniques and by leaving out of the discourse any competing theories. Gambrell and Raymond further note that even after educating the subjects about the telltale signs of such techniques, many of them still fail to pick up the signs in a practical test. James J. Kimball gives as an example the 1994 to 2015 historiography of the 1943 American "We Can Do It" wartime poster. After Michigan resident Geraldine Hoft-Oil said in 1994 that she was the real-life model for the poster, many sources repeated her assertion without checking the two foundational assumptions: that Oil was the young factory worker pictured in a 1942 wartime photograph, and that the photograph had inspired commercial artist J. Howard Miller to create the poster, though some media representations described the connection as unconfirmed. Many more enthusiastically endorsed it. The weight of these multiple endorsements gave Oil's story a convincing authority, despite the lack of authority in establishing the connection. In 2015, Kimball found the original photographic print of the factory worker, its caption identifying the young woman as Naomi Parker, working in California in March 1942, when Oil was still in high school.